What's going on, everyone? So, even when the offseason began, it was really an arms race between the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks, right? Those were the two teams very likely to come out of the Eastern Conference again. They were once again going to be the favorites. Of course, Miami could always be a surprise. Philly could always be a surprise. But your safest bets are Boston and Milwaukee. One of those two teams come out of the East. Then Boston went and got Kristaps Porzingis. And it was like, uh-oh, timeout. How good is Boston going to be? Now, personally, I thought that they made a big mistake giving up Marcus Smart. I think the original trade, where it was like Malcolm Brogdon and some pieces, that made all the sense in the world to me. But getting rid of Marcus Smart, I really think Boston is undervaluing how important and significant he is for that roster. He was the leader. He was their tough guy. He was the guy that held players accountable. He was extremely important. One of the biggest reason Boston can't seem to get over the hump is not because of lack of talent. And they've been the only team the last handful of years that have been top 5 in offense, top 5 in defense. They've had no problems offensively, no problems defensively. They've literally been one of the best teams in the entire league the last handful of years. They're in the conference finals every year or every other year, right? Like, they are very good at the game of basketball. They lack mental toughness. Kristaps Porzingis doesn't help with that, right? Then you see Milwaukee, who very likely was coming out the East. Boom, they go get Damian Lillard. I made a video yesterday before the announcement of the Jrue Holiday trade. I made a video saying that Boston desperately needs Jrue Holiday and they need to do whatever it takes to go and acquire him. And fast forward 2 hours, I think, after that video, guess who trades for Jrue Holiday? The Boston Celtics. So, once again, Laker comes in, foresees the future, and tells you where players are going to go. I know, it's a gift. But, in all seriousness, it just made the most sense, right? Boston, they needed that Marcus Smart replacement. Now, I don't think Jrue Holiday is the kind of tough guy that Marcus Smart is. Like, Marcus Smart is not the guy you want to run into in a dark alley, right? Like, that dude's a guy that you want backing you up in a bar fight, right? Like, that's the kind of guy that is terrifying, right? You do not want to go into a fisticuffs with Marcus Smart, right? But Jrue Holiday, what he does is he provides a lot of that other stuff. He provides that leadership, that veteranness, that mental toughness, a guy that can be that point of attack defender like Marcus Smart was, that guy that can be that versatile defender that like Marcus Smart was, a guy that can kind of rally the troops and keep everybody together, right? And I was like, they need him. And they're going to need somebody that can really get into a Damian Lillard like a Jrue Holiday can. A guy that also knows and understands Milwaukee and knows how they like to play. I understand they have a new coach, they're going to run new system stuff, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know like Giannis's habits and Middleton's habits and things like that because they've been together, they play together for the last handful of years, right? So I really thought Jrue Holiday was a dire need for the Boston Celtics, and they pulled it off. And now you look at the Celtics, and they are ridiculous. Jrue Holiday, Derek White as your backcourt. You have now 2 point of attack defensive guys, 2 guys that can play high-level defense out on the perimeter, 2 guards that can both handle the ball and play make for everybody, and 2 guards that can shoot the three-point shot at an efficient clip. Then you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They're 2 stars. 2 of the best perimeter defenders in the league. 2 of the best two-way guys in the league. And then Kristaps Porzingis as the man in the middle who is sizable, unicorn. You got 5 wide now. You can run so many different offensive schemes and sets. And like, it just, Boston's ridiculous. And look, I'm a Laker fan, right? I mentioned it earlier, Laker Damas. If you're familiar with me, you know about my Laker channel, all of that stuff, right? Like, if I remove my bias as a Laker, and it pains me, believe me, it pains me. But the basketball fan in me looks at Boston and goes, all right, they tough. Boston is tough. And they are going to be a handful, without a doubt. But they are also extremely top-heavy now. Now, you got guys like Reggie Bullock that are out there, and I think they need to go and call him immediately. Because outside of these five, you now have what? Like Horford, Brissett, Walsh, Pritchard, right? Hauser. Who else am I missing? They signed like who? Queta, right? Any of those names sound like a legit, oh man, that guy could be a sixth man. Oh, that guy could be, Al Horford's probably their best player off the bench. Jordan Walsh, defensively, seems like he's ready for the NBA, but he's also a rookie, and he's not going to give you much on the offensive end. You know, you have Pritchard, who has his moments here and there, right? Like, oh, they signed Svi, right? Also, it's just Boston. You can make an argument Boston has the best 1 through 5 starting 5 unit in the league. Because all 5 guys can defend, all 5 guys can shoot the three, all 5 guys can score and be effective and do multiple things. All 5 guys can switch, all of that stuff. Now, Boston probably gets eaten alive inside, right? Porzingis, he can defend a little bit. He has his moments, but he's not known as a defender by any stretch. He can block some shots. He's got, unicorn length. It's 7'3" or whatever. So, but he's also a guy that can get into foul trouble. He's also a guy that is not great as your primary rim protector. It's just Boston's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but they are tough, right? They are very tough. I don't think that they completely fixed their biggest issue, though, which is mental toughness, right? Also, injuries. Kristaps Porzingis already has been hurt. Kristaps Porzingis is already having an injury issue when he was playing with FIBA. That could be a real problem, right? Jason Tatum completely disappearing in important games, completely disappearing in fourth quarters, right? Yeah, it helps that you'd have a Kristaps Porzingis that can hopefully alleviate some of that offense. Jrue Holiday, he can hit some shots down the stretch, things like that. Like we saw Derek White step up big for them in spots and moments and things like that. But for me, Celtics are one of those teams, they're like the Clippers for me. Every year, people say that this is their year. Every year, they look like they're one of the best teams in the entire league. They have all this talent, all this, that, and the other. And every year, they fall short. Boston, every year, they're in the conference finals, and they just can't seem to get over the hump. And I don't think Kristaps Porzingis, I think Jrue Holiday made sense regardless. Even if they went and got Mark, even if they did it, let's say they never traded for Kristaps Porzingis, and you could have went and got Jrue Holiday, I would have gotten Jrue Holiday immediately. Because you could have had Jrue Holiday and Marcus Smart. Whew, man, good luck. That would have been tough, right? And then you still could have had Derek White off the bench, right? So, regardless, it's just, I'm not super sold on the Kristaps Porzingis trade. And many people don't really seem sold on Kristaps Porzingis, right? I don't know. I'm not. I think that they have all the potential in the world. No one would be shocked if they're in the NBA Finals. No one would be shocked if they won the NBA championship. But again, it's kind of like, I need to see you prove it type thing. But they also now match up beautifully with every team in the league. Because now you could throw Jrue Holiday on Bradley Beal. You could throw, Jason Tatum or, Jaylen Brown on Devin Booker, and then the other one on Kevin Durant. You're good. You're playing Milwaukee. You could put Jrue Holiday on Damian Lillard. When Jrue Holiday isn't on Damian Lillard, Derek White can be on Damian Lillard. So you always have that guy that's just going after Dame. You could put basically Kristaps, Jalen, Jason, or Al Horford all on Giannis and just kind of wear him down over the course of a series. That would help. Even Jordan Walsh, you could just throw him out there. I mean, again, he's not going to stop him, and that's not what it's about. It's about just getting a body out there to just defend and give us some hard fouls, things like that. But, Boston should be one of the better teams defensively this year. I'm curious to see how good defensively. Because, again, you have two very, perimeter-wise, they're probably going to be the best perimeter defensive team in the league. Right? But they may end up being one of the worst interior defensive teams in the league. So, I'm curious to see how that balances out. I wouldn't be shocked if they're 12th in interior defense, but number one in exterior defense, perimeter defense. It's going to be interesting. But I do think the acquisition of Jrue Holiday was a very important no-brainer type pickup. Boston needed him desperately to keep up and stay on par with Milwaukee and things like that. I don't think Kristaps Porzingis was the move that's the thing that Boston desperately needed to get over the hump. And I still think they're going to miss Marcus Smart. And the coaching is a big question. Porzingis and the injuries. It's just, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough. But I think that out of all the teams, Boston was one of those teams that I thought needed him desperately. The Clippers, I felt, were another team that really could have used him desperately. Those were the two big teams that I thought they really need a Jrue Holiday. Now, obviously, I would have loved him on several teams. I would have loved him on the Lakers, right? If Denver got him, watch out. There's several teams that, any contender that got, the beauty of Jrue Holiday is he's one of the few players in the league. You can put him on any team in the league, in any role, and that dude's going to shine. There are very few players that can do that, right? And do it at a high level. Talk about an all-star level guy that can impact both sides of the basketball and just be absolute chameleon-like. That is massive. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel about Boston? Do you think that they're a legit contender? Now, obviously, I think they're a contender, but do you think that they, that's it, they have what it takes to be the best team in the league, win the NBA championship, things like that? Do you think, no, I'm still not sold on them? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments